The absolute worst fucking tweet of all time. Ukraine is hosting one of the great epics of this century. We are Harry Potter and William Wallace, the Na'vi and Han Solo. We are escaping from Shawshank and blowing up the Death Star. We are fighting with the Harkonnens and challenging Thanos. We haven't won yet, but in many ways we have won. Read Pablo's full story on NATO review. It's like there's no greater representation that like we in the West have developed this like neoliberal monoculture than this right here. Okay, everyone on the West, like everyone around the world, just consumes the same shit. You can't blame a Ukrainian for thinking that, dude. Wait, what? Bro, I'm not talking about that. What the fuck do you mean? Like, there's this idea, and this actually is a good segue into another story that I'm going to talk about. There's this idea that like, if someone is being attacked by a larger superpower, or if someone is like oppressed, or if someone is from a marginalized background, for example, right? I will be talking about the NB luggage thief in a second, who is a Hasanabi head from what I understand. But like, you can't be cringe. Like, you just don't act like, don't say that. You can't blame a Ukrainian for feeling this way. It's like, no, it's cringe as fuck. I don't give a fuck who is saying it. I don't give a fuck what their background is. It's still like disastrously cringe. Okay? And that's fine. Stop behaving like people who are being brutalized or people who are being victimized can also simultaneously be incredibly fucking cringe at the same time. Motherfucker, this is what your town looks like. Okay? This is what has happened to your town. You're talking about Harry Potter. Like, what the fuck is this? It's just like, it blows my mind. Like, how are you out of touch with your own personal existence, with what's going on? A missile blows up in your backyard and you're like, man, this is just like when Voldemort did a Avada Kedavra. Like, what the fuck? Bro, if this is happening to my backyard and someone says that, my neighbor says that, I'm beating the shit out of my neighbor, okay? I'm like, shut the fuck up. No, it's not like that, okay? It's not like that at all. The fuck do you mean? It's like something way worse than that. Now, of course, this isn't like personally the fault of Ukrainians. This is just some NATO cringe. You know? I'd always been a journalist. On day 2 of Russia's full-scale invasion, I went and joined the armed forces of Ukraine. This is Pablo's story. A true people's army. It contained ordinary workers, company directors, parents of their children, school teachers, theater people, and university graduates. People bring knowledge and skills from their civilian professions into the army. What knowledge did you bring to the army? Just shitty writing? This is why journalists are good for nothing, dude. I swear to God. Like, I brought my knowledge into the army, which was writing fucking analogies that are the absolute worst, okay? It's like going to a hurricane victim and saying, wow, it's like a crazy rain machine for the movies out here. It's so fucking cringe. People bring knowledge and skills from their civilian professions into the army, as no one had got round to telling them it cannot be done. They set about creating new ways of solving problems. Once you reach first of all, someone should have said, hey, you shouldn't do this to this guy, okay? So maybe that's not the worst thing. Once you reach the front line, you come to an important realization. Whether you survive is mainly a matter of luck. Training can improve your odds. So can practice and experience. So far, so good, by the way. None of this is an issue so far. I'm just going to say. Okay? Russia continues to mobilize and does not count its losses. Ukraine is left playing David to an aggressive Goliath. Okay, fine. Moscow tried to divide Ukraine, but achieved the opposite. Fine. If Ukraine loses, Moscow gets it, and Moscow gets his way, the domino effect might be felt around the world. Differences become secondary. There are hundreds of thousands of soldiers in trenches, millions of their friends, relations at home without power. In these circumstances, it doesn't matter what your language is. Ukraine is losing. Ukraine is hosting. This is where it fucking falls off of its hinges. Also, yeah, I don't think we count Ukraine's losses either, but that's besides the point. Who cares? He's like trying to fucking... Ukraine is just like the movies, for real. We are Harry Potter and William Wallace, the Na'vi and Han Solo. We're escaping from Shawshank and blowing up the Death Star. We are fighting with the Harkonnens and challenging Thanos. I did not know. I know that NATO has nukes ostensibly, but I did not know they had nuclear cringe, okay? This is nuclear grade uranium cringe. So, turns out maybe Ukraine does have nukes. This. We haven't won yet, but in many ways, we have won. Read Pablo's full story. It's like, oh God. You know he wrote that and was like, damn, this shit pops off. This really... Like, I did that. It's a byproduct of just watching too much shit. What is this? I did see a quote tweet of this where it was like, oh, I think it might have been this one. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Yeah. Are we supposed to take out Spider-Man and SpongeBob? Iranian cleric mocks US and says Tehran can't strike back at targets of Soleimani's stature because America only has fictional heroes. True. Dog, your house is fucked up. Your streets are getting blown up and you're posting cringe. This is how you know journalists are good for nothing, dude. And you know, one group of individuals who are even worse than them are fucking Twitch streaming commentators. Like, don't misunderstand me. If Vladimir Putin single-handedly gave the greatest existence for NATO to continue, growing, these guys are literally doing the exact opposite. They're doing the most out here. They're like, I know the fucking odds are stacked against us and things are not going great, but honestly, maybe you shouldn't give us $111 million because, or $111 billion in arms, because this is what we're doing with the NATO, on the NATO side. This is what we're using it on. Oh my God. Putin is NATO's biggest support. NATO is NATO's biggest enemy. Exactly. The freaky NATO dudes are by far the worst. I'll sacrifice Ukraine and Poland just for them to log off. Okay, well, I don't think that most of the NATO dudes are also on board with that, for the record. What about this one? An English-speaking Ukrainian war think tank I can join to add some creative brain power. I'm hoping to join or perhaps start a highly creative think tank or whatever to help fight the Russians with some brain power. If there's already such a group, please message me. I'm seriously going nuts on being part of creating innovative solutions to help Ukraine. Creative problem solving is my shit. And I can learn to do some coding, though I've been mostly out of it in recent years. Let's do something, and fast. Let's get some engineers, coders, military people with solid knowledge of Russian hardware and strats, drone specialists, etc. This is the most Reddit war, dude. What is happening? If I caught Zelensky in bed with my girlfriend, I'd ask him how many sugars he took in his coffee, then tuck him in. I'd grab his hips and start thrusting them into my wife so he could rest a little bit. And then I'd get him some breakfast. And hopefully he'd produce a son with the balls the size of Crimea just like he has. Fuck Putin. I do feel like the anti-libertarian bigotry on Reddit's r/New Hampshire has gotten really bad. In response, the mod stepped in and pinned NBC's Free State NH documentary trying to combat anti-libertarian extremism. What? There's nothing anti-libertarian bigots hate more than science. This guy's joking, right? Political beliefs are substantially more heritable than sexual orientation. Do some searches on heritability of political beliefs and sexual orientation if you doubt me. Libertarians really are #born this way. Okay, he's not wrong. No, he's right. He's right. He's right. It's ableist. It's ableist to say listen. You're being ableist if you make fun of libertarians. Like, come on. Oftentimes we talk a lot about TikTok and its devastating impact on American society, but we rarely ever talk about how bad Reddit is. Possibly because, like, you know, Twitch and Reddit is unfortunately linked in a way that is really devastating for me personally. But I do think that Reddit needs to catch more strays. I think it's like too insular overall. Like, enough normies don't know how bad Reddit is, or how truly bad Reddit gets. And yeah, this is a consequence of just being extremely Reddit. He talked about the Kuwait drama. What's that? This man captured Reddit better than I've ever seen.
Good morning, sir. How can I assist you? Sir?
Did I get in the wrong line?
No, this is the right one, sir.
You asked me if I need assistance. That implies that I need a service. I'm not here for a service. I'm here to purchase a product. I am here to purchase coffee.
Oh, well, I do brew the coffee for you, which is a service.
No, not necessarily, because if you had a self-serving option, then I would just go ahead and do that. But I'd still be purchasing the product, which is what I'm trying to do.
Okay, would you like to buy a coffee?
Okay, now we're making...
Okay, this is killing me, please. I'm dying. I don't want to see more Reddit. I mean, this is very good. This is very good because it perfectly demonstrates how people behave on Reddit. But, like, it's also really bad at the same time. It's really good because it does a really good job of breaking it down, but it's kind of like that one guy who does like the cringe like, you know, A-worded TikToks where he's like, trying to show someone music, you know what I mean? But he's like too good at it. So then you're like, you end up getting whiplash because you feel yourself in the TikTok. You know what I mean? You can literally write anything and it gets a fair bit of traction. You will inevitably have a dozen dorks in your inbox nitpicking every word you said. Yeah. Oftentimes we talk about how fucking shitty and annoying Twitter is. And it's true. Twitter is very fucking annoying. But we always forget how fucking awful Reddit is.
Making more sense. All right, I'll have the Robusta.
Okay, great.
Do you know where that's from?
This one's from Gambia, sir.
Okay, all right. You're redeeming yourself a bit.
So happy to hear that.
And I'll have that at pH 6.
Oh, like pH level? So you want milk or?
Yes, that's what that means.
Oh, God.